right. Let's call the order the April 24th, 2025 meeting of the Planning Board. Patty, could you please do the roll?
I will. Don Span. Ronald Bisson.
Present.
Carrie Bickford.
Present.
Larry Brand.
Present.
Tim Denham.
Present.
Scott Libby.
Present.
Andrew Muncy.
Yeah, both Andrew and Don been excused.
Thank you.
All right, first item of business, the approval of the minutes from April 10th, 2025. Do you have any comments or a motion?
Motion to approve minutes from April 10th, 2025, second draft.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Any discussion? And all yeas, nays, abstention. All right. So we'll move to the pre-app subdivision review for Kennebec River Woodworks LLC. Just submitted a pre-app plan for road extension for residential lots on Emily Street, tax map R01, lot 17D1, 17D2, and 17D3. Great job.
All right, Joe Martin with Sightlines here on behalf of the applicant, and Mark Hinckley is also here. He's Kennebec River Woodworks to discuss with you Emily Street extension subdivision. Just a quick rundown of the project team. Again, the applicant is Kennebec River Woodworks. Sightline is the engineer and surveyor for the project. Atlantic Environmental now been purchased, but they previously did a wetland delineation on property in 2023. And then Mark Hampton Associates is doing the septic test pits on site to make sure we can get passing septic of each of the lots. So this is a site context map just to kind of show you where the property is. The dashed red line is the development property, and then the dashed yellow lines are just subdivisions. Existing subdivisions that are adjacent to the property. You can see the property is kind of pinched between River Road on the south and the railroad on the north. There is 295 is just south of the property, south of the development area. So just a quick rundown of what that. And one thing to note is there's one of the criteria of the ordinance, or one of the items we are supposed to address, is the focus areas, and there are no focus areas identified around or on the property. So this is the site inventory plan. Sign of the solid, or the thick dashed black line is kind of limited the wetlands on the property. There's kind of a large wetland complex on the north side and on the south side, and then there's these wetland fingers that connect them. There is a stream located down on the very southern end of the property, and in general, the drainage flows from the north to the south through the existing wetland areas. There's a little bit that flows off site, but most of it just flows to those wetland channels. Eventually to that stream, and then off to the west. This is a site analysis plan, kind of the same thing. We just kind of identify areas on the property where we should be sensitive to development, and that's kind of the north side of the property where we again have that large wetland complex, the south side where we have the stream and that large wetland complex. And then we have the end of Emily Street, since that is an existing road, a residential area. We want to make sure that what we're proposing, we're not impacting those existing residents to a detrimental effect. And this is the proposed subdivision. So back in 2009, this property was approved for a subdivision. It was it didn't end. So as you can see on this plan, this design ends in a cul-de-sac. The previous design just ended in a hammerhead turnaround. There was 3 lots. The road was obviously never built. The subdivision lapsed, and now that they want to come forward and build this, we have to go back through the review process. With that, we looked at increasing the density there based on the current zoning. Well, I should say that based on the frontage requirements and the road design requirements, kind of the maximum you get out there is 4. We did look at doing an open space subdivision with smaller lot sizes, smaller frontage requirements. We worked with Josh quite a bit to try to get something and just couldn't get something that worked out there. The open space requirements are pretty difficult to meet in the town ordinance, especially for like a smaller farm like this. So we just weren't able to make that work. There is an existing 2-inch water line on Emily Street that will be extended underneath the road. So all the lots will have public water. They will have private septic systems. One of the items that wasn't designed as part of the initial subdivision, which we'll look at now, is a stormwater management system. So we just want to make sure whatever we're sending off the property down towards that stream, we're not increasing flows to that stream. So we're not impacting any downstream properties or culverts or whatever it would be. So that, any questions or comments or anything we can use to incorporate into the next step?
I assume you've seen the memo that has a number of the questions.
I have not.
Sorry.
He did see the, so attached to the memo is the staff comments.
Okay.
You had seen the staff comments, right?
Was it the staff review meeting or was it?
Yeah, I was following the staff review. I have a copy here if you'd like to. So it was that email and then those are the comments.
Oh, yes, I did see these. Yeah, we did address some of them as part of the, we kind of resubmitted to the staff review and planning board. But there are a number of comments from the town that definitely are more towards the, preliminary and final design. But
Yes, so you've seen them, okay.
Yeah.
And are all set with addressing those. I mean, you addressed some of them in your comments already, so. Any other questions from the board?
Who's that?
Do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, on this water district was saying something about they wanted to upgrade the water main out there, or
I think it was if the fire department determined that a hydrant would need to be placed, and then we need to upgrade the water main. There is a hydrant. I don't think the plan. It's a couple hundred feet down Emily Street, so I do need to reach out to the fire department. I think we're within distance that's suitable for them to just be served off that existing fire hydrant.
yeah, because it's pulled off an 8-inch line, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's where the 8-inch converts to 2-inch.
Yeah.
So the hope is that we will be able to just extend the 2-inch line and then use that existing hydrant to kind of serve the new houses. But we will need to coordinate with the fire department.
Yeah, and actually, someone wants to make the motion. Before we ask more questions, provide more feedback.
I moved pre-application submission. I can try again. I moved the pre-application submission for Emily Street Extension subdivision dated April 16, 2025, provides a clear understanding of the site such that the board may identify any issues and constraints that must be addressed in the formal subdivision application. I second that.
Second, discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Show unanimous. All right. More
Now we can ask questions, right?
Yes, and also but for pre-application, we should approve it.
Okay. You want to sign the table? Larry, were you ready to say something?
Been a while since I've been on Emily Street, but is this area where the cul-de-sac is And the proposed area, kind of where it's clear cut.
Yes, yeah, so right now, the road kind of just ends in a T turnaround.
Right.
So yeah, the area of the road extension and cul-de-sac would be the cleared area. There was, previous to the current owner obtaining it, there was some clearing down the property. There was some wetland impacts that were, that happened. The current owner did coordinate with DEP to get those wetland impacts permitted, and DEP was understandable that wasn't him who did it. So there was some incidental wetland impacts related there.
As, I think it was also mentioned in this staff comment, is that turnaround being eliminated?
Yes, yeah, we'll need to figure that work with the abutter there to figure out how that will be done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know the exact process, but usually that lane is deeded back to the owner that the property is on. So, but we'll coordinate with the town on that as well.
The only other comment is, it does look like there's quite a bit of wetland in river, so, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not river, stream, sorry.
We did try to, so we are trying to kind of leave the wetland channels as they are. Of course, when we cross it with the road, we gotta impact those.
Yeah.
But the building envelopes are tending to kind of be within that area. You know, that's where the water wants to naturally flow, so you don't really want to mess with
Building
it too much. Yeah.
Great, and I'll open it up to public comment. Don't have any comment in the room. Anyone online that might? No? All right, close public comment. All right, I don't know if there's any other suggestions folks have to. Do you have any questions for us that might help you?
No.
Moving forward.
No, I think the comments we got from the town were all good and understandable, and we'll definitely incorporate them as we.
Thank you.
What is it?
Adjourn.
All right. All in favor? All right, so unanimous, we are adjourned, meeting closed, we'll move to workshop.